Two people can build the same AI agent and get very different results. One ends up with a messy script that guesses too much. The other ends up with a clear system that knows what to do, what to use, and when to stop. The difference is the blueprint. Before you write Python, you decide the task, the inputs, the tools, the state, and the stop rules. That sounds simple, but it saves a lot of rework. In this episode, we turn the abstract idea of an agent into a design you can actually implement next. Start with one exact task, not a vague goal like be helpful. Vague goals create vague agents. A better example is find the cheapest train from Paris to Lyon for next Friday and explain why it was chosen. Now the design has edges. What details does the agent need from the user? Departure city, destination, date, and maybe a budget. What should the answer look like? One recommendation with a short reason. And how do we know it worked? It found a valid option, used the right source, and stayed inside the limits we set. A clear goal makes every later decision easier. Next, split the design into 3 boxes. State is the agent's working notebook. It stores the goal, what the user has already said, and any results that matter later. Tools are the helpers outside the model. For this episode, that could be a train search API, a calculator, or a file reader. Output is the final answer the user sees. Keeping these separate matters because they do different jobs. State helps the agent remember. Tools help it gather or compute. Output is the polished response at the end. If you mix them together, debugging gets painful fast. Now let's sketch one beginner-friendly workflow. The user asks for a train option. The agent checks whether it has enough information. If the date is missing, it asks a follow-up question and stops there for now. If the information is complete, it calls one tool, the Train Search API. The tool returns a small list of options. The agent compares those options against the goal and picks the best match. This is just one bounded design pattern, not the only way to build an agent. Some systems call tools more than once, and some follow fixed workflows instead of loops. For a first blueprint, though, this pattern is easy to reason about. This is the moment to decide what the agent is allowed to do by itself. Bounded autonomy means you choose the permissions up front. Reading data, searching data, and drafting a recommendation may be fine. Booking a ticket, sending money, deleting files, or submitting anything external may need human approval first. You also define the maximum number of steps. That step limit matters because it keeps the system predictable. So the agent stops when it succeeds, when it runs out of steps, when permission is required, or when the user needs to clarify something. Clear stop rules make the blueprint safer and easier to trust. A helpful beginner model is observe, decide, act, then check again. Think of it as a planning pattern, not the only architecture. Some agents are loops, some are workflows, and some are simple routers that choose one path and stop. But this model helps you design the flow. The agent observes the current state and any tool results. It decides whether it has enough information, whether it should call a tool, or whether it should stop. Then it acts by asking a question, calling the tool, or drafting the answer. After that, it checks the result against the goal. If the result is good enough, stop. If not, continue within the limit or ask for help. Now compress everything into a one-page design document. Write the goal in one sentence. List the inputs the agent must have. Name the tools and say what each one returns. Note the state it should keep between steps. Write the success condition in plain language, such as return one recommended train with a short reason. Then write the stop rules: success, step limit, missing permission, or user clarification. Finally, sketch the branches for the main decisions. Missing info means ask. Multiple results means compare. A risky action means stop and confirm. That one page is your coding map. You now have the plan. In the next episode, we turn this blueprint into Python by building the first agent loop and its decision logic. You will see how the goal, state, tool calls, and stop rules become real code. Once that skeleton exists, adding tools and better decisions becomes much easier. The design is done. Next, we build.